Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Since most of you here are in your early to mid-20s, I believe, let me ask you this question. Are you thinking about marriage?
Yes.
Okay, eager. Okay, married, very good. Now, we have every reason to believe that when two people enter into wedlock, it's because, first, they love each other, and because they want to spend the rest of their lives together. Sadly, however, the dream of a happy marriage is in itself, it proves to be often just a dream. Please take a look at the following graph right here. This is a graph of the world divorce rate. Now, which was featured in the Korea Herald newspaper on December 28th of year 2003. So there may be slight changes because it's 2005 now. Now, this graph shows the total amount of marriages that end up in divorce in the percentage rate. There are 5 countries shown in this graph. As you can see, the United States, Sweden, South Korea, Norway, and England. According to a magazine article that I read, it stated that if we were to compare the global divorce phenomenon to an earthquake, the United States would be at the epicenter. And obviously, there's only a 4.4% difference between the States and with South Korea. Last year alone, more than 1 million marriages ended up in divorce in the United States. This comes out to an average of about 2 every minute. But as you may well be aware, the United States is hardly alone in this marital misery. Upon seeing this statistic, I asked myself, why do so many marriages fail? Now, personally, I believe it is greatly due to lack of preparation. Indeed, many enter marriage with little or no idea of how to make it successful. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen attentively as I present to you, throughout my presentation, a look at marriage, look at yourself, and look at your prospective mate. I'm so proud of these.
You should be.
Okay. Marriage, personally, I think, is like a two-sided coin. Having a mate to share life's joys and sorrows with is truly blessing. And marriage can fill a void caused by loneliness or despair. It can also satisfy our inborn craving of being wanted and for love, companionship, and intimacy. On the other end, it introduces to us to a whole new set of problems. Since the marriage is actually the blending of 2 distinct characters, distinct personalities, we may be compatible to our spouses, but we can never be identical. Think about a well-matched couple that you know, and I'm pretty sure that you know at least one of them. Without a doubt, they too experience occasional conflict. You've probably heard from those that are married or have been married that marriage is reality. The feelings you get when you're attracted to someone will only last 2 months or a couple of years. Each and every marriage has its own unique problems and challenges. The question, therefore, is not whether they will arise, but how to face them when they do. But what acts as a fundamental resource when we're faced with a problem is commitment. Although the idea tends to frighten many people, if you have true love for someone, then I don't think that you would be afraid to commit to that person. Commitment, I believe, accords the marriage dignity, and it positions itself as a basis for a husband and a wife to support each other under many circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not ready for such a commitment, I strongly feel that you're not ready for marriage. It's easy to list the credentials that you look for in your prospective mate, but it is definitely much more difficult to determine how you can contribute to a successful marriage. Therefore, a thorough examination of ourselves is necessary. Please ask yourself these questions. Question number 1, am I willing to make a lifelong commitment to my mate? Number 2, if I am thinking about getting married, Am I past the youthful age when sexual feelings and run quite strongly and can distort the judgment? Question number 3. What traits do I have that will help me contribute to a successful marriage? Question number 4. Do I have the maturity needed to support a mate through difficult times? Number 5. Am I generally cheerful or optimistic? Or am I generally gloomy and pessimistic? And the last question, do I keep myself calm under pressure? Or do I have to control my rage? Now, if you've passed answering these questions successfully, the next step would be, obviously, to seriously consider your prospective partner. If you're thinking about getting married, you will want to be sure that he or she is a fit person for you. Now, some of the following questions will be presented from the standpoint of a woman, but most definitely, the principles also apply to men. Question number 1, what kind of reputation does he have? Question number 2, what kind of morals does he have? Question number 3, how does he treat me? A very important question, the next one is, how does he treat his family members, especially his parents? The next question, is he given to fits of anger or abusive speech? And the last question, what are his goals? Are you thinking about marriage? I am. Hopefully in the near future. Either about a possible future marriage or about the marriage that you are in, you may be thinking about. If so, you should be aware that a real-life relationship isn't like the ones that are featured to you in movies, in TV dramas, or like the ones in the romance novels. I really hope that the factors which should be considered in selecting a perfect mate for yourself and in preparing yourself for the demands of a marriage life may require will help you in your lives. Thank you. Is this our last presentation? No, we have
No.
It's so scary.
How many minutes? 7:09, okay. Oh, question and answers, right?
Okay. Any questions, please?
Anyone have questions? I have a question regarding the divorce statistics. You mentioned that the divorce rate in Korea was about 47%, I think.
That was year 2003.
Right. So my question is, I've lived in Korea for quite a few years now. I've never met anybody who was divorced. Where are they?
Obviously, you have good friends, right?
No, or is it that people just don't say it? Don't reveal the fact that they're divorced?
It could be. And also, maybe they remarried. That could also be a possibility.
In the States or in Europe, you meet people who are divorced everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
But here, nobody.
Or it could be that actually the Korean people, they don't like to talk about it. They like to keep it a secret most of the times because it affects their children also, usually.
But this is one of the first questions people ask me whenever I meet somebody new. Are you married?
Oh, really? They do.
Or,
it's a very personal question.
I'm divorced. I tell them, do you have any children? They ask me very pointed questions. So I would assume that they would ask each other the same kind of question. I don't ask the question myself.
Yeah, personally, I don't ask the question myself too. And personally, I think that's a very personal question. But if you do, I wonder why.
What's the growth rate?
The growth rate?
Yes. Per year?
Per year? Basically, what I know is, as we entered into 2005, it's over 50% now in Korea.
I think that was it either because divorce rate within first 3 years right after marriage.
No, it didn't mention anything about that. It said as in total. Right.
How about Canadians?
Pardon me?
How about Canadians?
Oh, Canadians. Actually, it was 38%. Oh, thank you. Right. I wanted to put Canada here, but I ran out of space. It was actually 38%.
Oh, strong marriages.
Somewhat. Somewhat, I guess.
It means
The European.
Near 50% means that in two couples.
Yeah, one ends up in divorce.
Oh.
So this is actually a serious problem. And I was wondering what the problems may be, right? And what I noticed was in Korea, usually, in many instances, they don't marry out of love, you know what I mean? They don't really have, like, you don't date for 2 years, Usually, many of them, they meet one of those matchmakers. And eventually, they don't really have deep feelings for the person from the beginning. Usually when you're faced with problems, oh, remember the time when we were, dating, and we had no money, but we still loved each other. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that nowadays. And nowadays, women are becoming much more independent, right? We have money, power now. So we don't rely on men like we used to. We don't need their support. Right. What do you think? What do you think contributes to this phenomenon? Aren't you afraid to get married? I'm pretty sure that these people, when they entered into wedlock, I'm pretty sure they thought, oh, we're going to live forever, right? Nobody actually thinks, oh, you and I, we could end up right. So I thought that these questions that I came up with, maybe, because many of the times when I'm talking with my friends, they always say, oh, I want this in my man, I want this in my man, he must have this. But then I would usually ask them, what about you? What do you have? Look at yourself. Right? He may be the ideal type for somebody else, but not you, because you got to be compatible in every way. Yes? No?
Yes. What's the time?